Hi, I'm Brian Adams,
Hi, I'm João da Silva.
and here we are together. We're starting a new type of like segment that we're calling Playing the Part. Or I should say, Joao, has this great little podcast that once we did an episode together, episode six, I kind of thought about it a little bit like, hey, what if we do something that's a bit more current that we're kind of playing different games right now? Let's talk about them a little bit. Since we're constantly playing games or so we always already
Constantly.
talk about it. So why don't we talk about it now in front of the camera and everything?
Yeah, it's something that we do in every day with each other, with friends, and I'm sure everybody out in the audience does it too. Not just with video games, but with everything. But we wanted to share what we were doing at the time, as far as like what we're playing, and hopefully give you guys some insight on some stuff that we're doing, and hopefully find something that you'll like out there that you can play too.
Mm-hmm. Like we all have different tastes out there. We all like different games or different movies, and it's just some of our things that we do enjoy. And if you want to, you might have like thought about doing this at one possibility. Like, okay, cool. Like I like what this is going. Like I'll try that game out next time. That's kind of like the thought process of it. If we're almost like selling your friend on playing the game that
Hmm.
you liked
Yeah.
because like it was a good game, so like put that game on their radar. And now
Hmm.
we're gonna try to put it on your radar.
Yeah, because I can't tell you how many times, just like with people with Netflix and stuff, how you sit there and you scroll for the next thing to play, never knowing what you're gonna play. Do I want to
Mm-hmm.
give that a shot? Do I want to give this a shot? So hopefully, this will help somebody out there make this decision. I know it'll help me, knowing that me and Brian like some similar games. But without further ado,
Mm-hmm.
let's get into it.
So, I want to talk about the game Edge of Eternity. It came out a couple years ago, made by a very small studio. Literally, it was four people that started the
Hmm.
studio. It then turned into 13 people, and that was it. And they made this giant JRPG game called Edge of Eternity. It was initially kickstarted, one of the very few games that would kickstarted and actually
Hmm.
came out and was pretty good.
Yeah.
So it has a very resembles a bit of like Xenoblade, if you ever played that before, where it's
Hmm.
this big sprawling world you kind of
Hmm.
get into and explore and wander around. And I just got lost exploring and just trying to find this thing, this thing. I just beat the game a couple days ago and it was 60 hours I put into it altogether. So, and I was,
Wow.
yeah, so I did pretty much like all the little side quests and did everything that I could, found all the little like crystal fruits they have in there, and there's 100 of them.
Hmm.
So I'm like, yeah, I had a good time, very fun, enjoyable game that I liked playing.
Hmm.
Of it, like the battle system was good. It's kind of a turn-based hexagonal grid type of thing
Hmm.
where four people can be on the same grid,
Hmm.
and then you can kind of move around and attack the people and get backstabs.
Hmm.
And there's an elemental system as well with it. The negative side with that is it got stale pretty quickly. All the enemies were the same. Like
Uh,
literally, it was a deer, a boar, a cat creature, and
hmm.
then it was just those things just
Hmm.
beefier as you went on into the games.
Yeah.
The bosses were pretty fun, big creatures or just big new elements that they kind of put into it. That'd be the one thing if I would change would be the best, just flesh out the battle system a
Hmm.
little bit more. But at the same time, 13 people made this.
Wow.
So it's like this is like their really big first
Hmm.
foray into the JRPG genre and their big first foray into just making a game of this size before.
Hmm.
They did an outstanding job with it. Obviously, there's some bugs here and there. Things can be fleshed out a bit more, but the story was great.
Yeah.
It's you follow basically a brother and sister, and they're trying to save their mom from
Hmm.
this corrosion disease that basically when people get it, they die. There's
Hmm.
no known cure for it. She's a magic user that's part of like the priestess society, and
Hmm.
he is a deserter from the war because at the same time they're basically fighting aliens.
Hmm.
This alien tech crew came out to the planet 30 years ago and was like, "Hey, cool guys, like we're from a different planet.
Hmm.
Let's show you some like neat stuff with technology and everything." And then all of a sudden they did a 180 and now they're fighting them instead. So now they're going after them and they're
Hmm.
way more technologically advanced than these people. Like you
Hmm.
use, swords and elemental magic while they have guns and blasters and just atomic bombs and everything that
It's
they can
kind of
drop
giving
on
me like
you.
Star Ocean vibes a
A
little.
bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
they made a great sci-fi into a
Hmm.
fantasy setting as well with it. So that was one thing I kind of liked about it. There's
Hmm.
a bit of sci-fi here and there. Like there was eventually you find an AI, and this AI is talking about its processors and what it's programmed to, and the characters are like, "What do you mean program? What's an AI?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, because they don't have that at all on their planet." So they're just like, "What do you mean like your program? what do you mean you don't have a body, but you're talking to me right now?
Hmm.
It's like, oh, nice. Like,
Wow.
yep, that's right. It's pretty cool. Aside from that, like I said, the gameplay wise,
Hmm.
you just explore, kind of like fight monsters, go on the story. And one of the things I liked about it was like it's just like the brother and sister almost the entire time.
Hmm.
So you just have
Is,
just these two people.
is that like the your party,
Yeah.
brother and sister?
Yep. It's just the brother and
Okay.
sister party pretty much almost the entire game. Eventually you do get more party
Mm.
members here and there, but good 50% of the game is just the brother and sister, which I kind of really enjoyed it,
I
just
think that
having
would,
this just
I
two.
think that's a cool dynamic that you
Mm-hmm.
don't see often.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And I put the difficulty all the way up to 10 and had no problem with it. It was
Hmm.
actually, some parts were kind of easy. Just the monsters are a bit more beefier,
Hmm.
but never gave yourself like a good challenge. So even on like normal or easy, you would probably like one hit the
Hmm.
monsters left and right.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to steamroll the game, just put that thing down and just like one hit kill and go on, move your way. It was pretty cool.
Hmm.
Let's see, aside from that, music was fun, gameplay was fun, graphics
Hmm.
were fun. Like I said, overall, I enjoyed the game.
Hmm.
I very rarely put down a game. I've only probably happened like 3 times in my entire life type of scenario.
Hmm.
Definitely enjoyed it. I got it on sale, so like I finally like heard about this game. Let me try it out. So yeah, I would say that.
That's crazy. I did because I haven't heard of something like that. And you said it came out a few years ago.
I think it 2022, 2021 came out.
Did you get it? I think you got it like digitally.
Yeah,
Nice. You always find like some like gems out there.
yeah, and it was one of the things like I said. Like I remember hearing about it back in
Hmm.
the day. Then it was like it's on sale. I was like, I'm not playing anything else right now. Like I
Hmm.
remember about this. Cool, let's put this one in there. And I was like, all right, yep, this is hitting all my eyes. Oh, one other thing I wanted to say, it very reminiscent about like PS3 style graphics and
Hmm.
everything. So it's like if you can't go to the like the older gens,
Hmm.
yeah, this might not
As
be the
far as
game for you
graphics.
because yeah,
Hmm.
it's a PS3,
Hmm.
PS2 graphically style
Hmm.
game. Bit janky here and there
Hmm.
for sure, but I mean I grew up playing those
Playing the
games
jank.
anyway,
Yeah.
so janky is nothing
Hmm.
for me right now. So it's like, yeah, cool, let's do it.
That's awesome. I might
Hmm.
have to give that a shot. And is it if out of it, was there anything that you would maybe fix? Like
So
if they were to make a sequel that you would hope
yeah,
for?
the like crafting system could be expanded
Hmm.
upon. Like when you got a new weapon, the weapon itself had like a branching tree that you could basically
Hmm.
put crystals on, and that would give you boosts and
Yeah.
abilities with that. Well, those abilities were tied to a crystal, and sometimes some trees didn't have like they were color coded.
Hmm.
And so if you had a green ability, if that tree didn't have a green crystal, you couldn't use that ability at all because you don't have a crystal to put on for
Hmm.
that. So it hindered you as well as kind of like you had to be strategic on which tree you wanted to, and you probably designed it to where you would change what tree
Hmm.
because you could do it whenever you want
Yeah.
to, depending on the circumstances. But someone like me is like, ooh, more damage. Noink,
Hmm.
that's the tree I do no matter what because I do more damage in that tree. So I would try to expand on that a bit more. The armor, it's pretty basic, but like I said as well, it's a small studio.
Hmm.
So these are all things that they were doing that they are learning from as well. They've already said that like they have a
Hmm.
plan to do more games in this whole like kind of world. But yeah, I said that.
That's awesome,
Mm-hmm.
man. Well, on the contrary to what you were playing, that you played something that's a little bit older. I actually played something that's a little bit, well, actually fairly new. With Stellar Blade.
Ooh, yeah.
So I with the game, I know there's been like a whole bunch of controversy before it came out. You know, with obviously how the main character is and stuff like that, and people making a hoopla about that. But like actually playing the game, it was actually really really good. And I was worried that I wouldn't like it because I haven't played a Souls like yet before.
Mm-hmm.
But it was weird because when you like saw like trailers from the game, you couldn't tell if it was like a Souls like if it was like Devil May Cry, and it's kind of like a mishmash of both
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. And I think that's really what I liked about it. Play it. It's basically a story about it's like a futuristic story too. Basically, it's like it's been like an apocalypse on Earth. There were some creatures that invaded, kicked all the Earthlings out, and they now live in space. And now they're trying to retake back their planet. And they use these soldiers, the airborne squad, to do the fighting for them. And basically, you play Eve, that is sent down to join in one of the raids, I would say, and it follows her story and expands on that whole universe. Um, as far as the gameplay goes, this is my first time playing. Well, we've had conversations about how I've done with Sekiro.
I'm the Souls guy.
Yeah, he's much more the Souls guy. He's much more into it and more skilled in it than I am. But the one thing I do like about Sekiro and what kind of translate into Stellar Blade is that it has more of a system that involves parrying. I
Mm-hmm.
like parrying and stuff. Even though the one in Sekiro is so difficult sometimes.
It takes a while to get it the
Yeah,
click. Like we
like
talked about that a
yeah,
bit.
to catch to catch the signs to know when is to do it and stuff. Like one of my greatest glories in playing video games is like beating the Valkyries
Oh
and
yeah,
like
and God of
in
War. Oh
yeah
yeah.
in God of War. So that's why I enjoy it. And I was like, oh, well, let me give it a shot and stuff. And you know, for obvious other reasons. But played it. It was good. The combat was awesome. It was difficult the first run through, and but it was like gratifying. Like when you finally go and you beat something, you're like, oh my god. And the good thing about this game is that it's not as punishing as some of the Souls games.
Mm-hmm.
You don't lose like experience. You don't lose this. You just go back to the last checkpoint and
Yep.
then continue on. So that it took some of the pressure off of like failing a little bit off and just made the whole experience more gratifying when you do beat somebody that's
Mm-hmm. Yes.
eventually.
That's the main Souls
Mhm.
thing that people don't think about
Yeah.
or ever come in. It's just like when you die to a boss 30 times and
Hmm.
you do finally beat them.
Hmm. Yeah.
Oh, that
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah. Because it's also worse when you're so close sometimes.
Yes.
You get
You
maybe
get
like a couple
greedy.
hits, yeah.
You get
And like,
greedy.
let me take this shot, and you get put back in
I
your
just need one more
place.
hit.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
I'm
then you get
dead.
put back in your place, and you just keep going. But it made it not seem as if it was too devastating to lose
Yep.
a match and stuff. So that was a good thing about it. So that kept me more engaged with it. The story, I've heard things good things bad things about it, like reading reviews and stuff like that. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
think the story was that bad. I thought it was actually pretty decent. I know some of them were saying like some of the characters were shallow, they didn't have much this and blah blah blah. It's just one, you got the combat, the story was decent, it carried it through. It's their first round. If it goes well and they make a sequel, I'm sure they'll probably expand on the story, because at the end of the game I was like, okay, I want to see what happens next. So
Mm-hmm.
it at least kept me engaged to that point. The combat was pretty good. The As far as like the collector's side of things, I believe you're the same way. You're like a completionist, so you like to, if there's collectibles out there, you
Yep.
like to go out and get them.
Yep.
So that was pretty good. It kept me engaged with trying to get that, all the costumes and everything, all the little literature stuff that you can grab. You can do that also. There's fish that you can get. Tons of stuff that you can do in it, aside from the actual combat. So I thought it was like a really good game. The only maybe a negative thing about it that I would think is that some of the you can upgrade stuff like your exospine and like have like little nanomachine like things that you can put in that like up your stats and stuff like that. I wish some of those were more elevated. They have a ton of them that you can use, but you can only choose like four and then two, and it there's a lot of stuff that I wouldn't try because the one that I had like were so good.
Yeah, there's too much of like a
Mhm.
meta thing.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't want to try anything else because this is
Mhm.
so good
Yeah.
that I just you go down too much.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I
That's the
totally
only thing.
understand that.
I feel like if they forced me to use more of those things, then it would be those mechanics would be a little bit better if they forced me to have to change
Mm-hmm.
so every so often. Um, and then as far as cons go, I think that was my biggest con about it. The only thing I will say, which is weird, I think I told you about it, and it kind of annoyed me at the first time. It's probably one of the first games that I've played like twice, and I actually did a new game plus. I usually don't do new game plus. Usually I've run through a
Mm-hmm.
game, I'm done, and that's
Yep.
it. That's
Yeah.
the last you'll see of me. I did it this time because there's a point in the game where there's a point of no return, where if you don't get everything done by that point and you continue, you can't go back and do the items.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't paying attention. It clearly said it in front of me. It clearly stated it in writing that I wouldn't be able to go back, and I still did it. And I regretted it because there was a whole bunch of stuff, side quests and everything, and
Yep.
costumes that I still had to get that I didn't do. But it gave me incentive to actually do the new game plus, which was actually pretty cool. And I completed that. I think this past week. So, and I enjoyed it still, even though I was playing it for the second time around. So I think that says something.
Were you kind of like rushing through the second time?
Not rushing, more
Streamlined.
yeah, streamlined. I
Mm-hmm.
knew what to do. I knew how to get it. I knew this. I kept all my same stats as from before, so I was just crushing everything
Yep.
as I went through. It's just that now I made sure this time to go out and do all the stuff that I didn't finish, like catching all the fish, catching all this. getting all the costumes and stuff, so I can get all the items. But kept me engaged on both playthroughs. So
Nice. Yeah, that's one thing I kind of learned is like before a game, because I like getting trophies here and there, but I will always like point of no returns, missables. Like immediately, I will kind of like look those things up just so that way I know like okay, that way I don't do two playthroughs.
Yeah.
It's like I try to look those things up that way. That's like okay, cool. I just make sure when I hit this point, make sure I get all these things done.
Yeah. Now, what I would think about for what maybe my favorite part about the game is, it's either I want to say, if I can cheat, I'm going to say maybe two things. One, the graphics are like amazing and stuff. I know it's built on Unreal Engine. I just can't tell if it's 4 or 5. Just looking at it, I would assume it's 4, just because of some of the renderings I've saw for 5. So I would think it's 4. But the graphics, even though are amazing, some next gen stuff. But I think my favorite part really is like the combat. Just that gratification that you get from actually beating something from there. There's no other feeling than like conquering and stuff in games. And I think that's what the addiction is for.
Yep. It's challenging, but then when you beat that challenge, you're just like, yes, give me another one. Give me another one. Give me another one. And that's my rabbit hole of Dark Souls and all that is that reasoning.
Yeah, it gives me the incentive to either try the new game plus again on hard, because I redid it on normal since I was just really just trying. Yeah, I was really just trying to get everything that I missed the first time. But now I'm thinking of actually going back and doing it just to get that challenge that high and stuff. So, or I might go back to Sekiro and take my chances, but we'll see.
It's a good game.
Yeah, but no,
Talk about that another time.
Right? As far as like games go, though, I would give it a thumbs up and I would recommend it. So.
Same thing with Edge of Eternity. Definitely would recommend it. Fun little game. Like I did 60 hours into it. What are you with Stellar Blade?
With both playthroughs, I think it was a little over 60 also.
Okay.
So about 30 each playthrough.
It's good. I mean, so many times now, like people are, a game is only good if it's this amount of time I put into it. It's like,
no,
it's only good as much as you want it to be as good as. I played really good games that were 5 hours.
Yeah.
I played some slogs that were 100 hours and I was like, this is a good game, but this is just 40 hours too long.
the notorious Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Like it was so long. Good game, but it was more disrespectfully long. Like it didn't have to be that long. If you're a completionist and you're going through it, you're gonna give like probably over 100 hours, and it's some of the things aren't worth it. So,
yeah.
But you put that little carrot in front of somebody's face and
get the carrot. Get the carrot.
So, but no, I would definitely recommend that to anybody.
Cool. Well, there you have it. Edge of Eternity, Stellar Blade, both good, fun games recommended by Bryan and Joao.
Yeah, and we'll post this this video onto YouTube, and it'll be on all DSPs as far as the podcast audio. So if you do see this, you like it, feel free to give us comments. Let us know what you guys are playing. We're always open to catching new games, and we'll give you guys the next stuff that we're playing the next time that we catch you.
Yeah. If you have any suggestions as well, drop it in the comments. Let us know. Who knows? Might pick it up, play it, and let you know what we think.
Yeah. Peace.
Have a good one.